What's up, guys? Joe from the AZ Westside Wheelers here. Today we got a product review from a new company, Hooke Road. Stick around. Well, guys, it's been a long, sad road, but these things have got to go. This is one of Monstro's very first upgrades. We did some cheap Amazon fenders, and they've served their purpose. Don't get me wrong, but we've had some rock damage over the years on that back one that I've had to repair. And they're just very flimsy. We're ready to move up to something a little bit stronger. That's what we're going to show you today. Today, we're going to show you some fenders from Hooke Road. These are going to be your tube style fenders. They're going to be something we can push into rocks a little sturdier and just end up being a much beefier alternative to what we have. Let's check out these Hooke Road fenders. These are going to be their tube style fenders. As you can see, they put braces inside to help with stability and structure. They are actually pretty strong. They take a very similar shape to what we currently have, other than the tube edition. These are going to be a much stronger option. We tend to lean and roll into rocks sometimes, so we're going to almost use these as rock sliders. We're going to test them out pretty good, I'm guessing. We have a tendency to do that with all our steel armor around here. We use it to the fullest. This is going to be your front. This one's going to be your rear. They come powder coated very nicely. Pretty nice on these things. And the price point is very nice also. So these aren't going to be your $1,000 fenders. If I remember correctly, we're going to put the price right here because I believe it was somewhere in the much cheaper range than some of these alternatives. But I'm hoping the quality is going to be just as strong. This company says that they like to boast good, strong quality and functionality out of their stuff. We're going to see how that works with Monstro because you guys know we like to wheel. Let's talk a little bit about uninstalling. Unfortunately, we do not have the stock fenders on Monstro anymore. Thankfully, we do have two videos of when we went to this new style of Smitty built fender years ago and when we trimmed the inner fender wells on one of our partners. So if you can go to the description, we will have the link for you there, and that will show you how to uninstall the stock fenders if that's what you have. Otherwise, we're just going to rip these off because these are just basically a simple install with a few wrenches, kind of like what we're getting ready to put on. And then we'll show you how to install the Hooke Roads. Now, we showed you a quick shot of what they said that is required for tools to install. I'm going to make a suggestion. These right here work. Now, this is what they sent you to install the riv nuts. I'm going to suggest you buy one of these. If you've got a Jeep, you're probably going to end up using this thing about 100 times. So go buy you one of these tools. We can leave a link below in the description for this tool right here that I've purchased right off of Amazon. Pretty inexpensive. And what it does is it seats these riv nuts. You can also use this tool, but these do it a lot better. Little pro tip here. The way I built in my rock lights, I made them to where I could drop down my inner fender, disconnect them, and it was easily removable. And if we're going to be able to retain this, then I'll try and get it back in there. If not, we're going to have to look to Hooke Road or somewhere like that that makes an inner fender that's out of aluminum. This is going to be a very similar uninstall. 13 millimeters, pretty much just walking around. These are a very similar look to the Hooke Road ones as far as the aesthetics, how they mount. So if you already have something like this, it seems to be a pretty much plug and play matchup so far. We'll see how it goes for the rest of it. I know most of us Jeepers aren't real heavy on the cleaning, but this is the time to do it. See all this stuff caked in here? You don't want that stuff in between. You want to get you a nice clean surface. If you have to, get a wet rag, clean this up, dry it really nice and well. If you have any exposed like paint areas, this is the time to paint those so you don't get any rust down the road. And that's what we're trying to prevent by removing this, is just getting the stuff in between the fender and the actual fender so you don't have any rusting. Now, at this point in the install, you might be scratching your head saying, Joe, I have extra things sticking out. If you have a nice little flat piece sticking out right here, don't freak out. That's just supposed to be there. We've actually had to remove it because, as you can see, we run a 40-inch tire and we need every ounce of clearance. So we're going to show you how to install this. It shouldn't be a problem. Normally, that just kind of rests the fender on top of there. It's not really needed. If you're needing the extra flex, get rid of the thing. Now it's time for the riv nuts. The instructions tell you right here and right here. If this will not fit, which ours won't, you need to get a 9mm and drill that out just big enough for this to fit in there. Now in the instructions it says a 9mm, but it also says to keep enlarging the hole to where you're just slightly bigger than this. And I've found that to be my step bit, which is at a 12. Don't forget your Loctite. You're going to start it, force it in there. Now, we're going to go real tight in here. And what you want to do is when you're collapsing this, you want to make sure you're staying flush. As you can see, you can really pivot this thing around in there. Just make sure it's nice and flush and squish it in place. And there you go. Seated perfectly. All right. Now this is not in the instructions and you will actually have to have your own nutsert, but I'm going to choose to put an extra one right here for stability. I think these hold better than just a bolt going through there. So that's what I'm going to do. That's your choice. And there you go. Those are your two locations. Third one optional for the front.
The last thing you need to do for the front is to install the 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts with the washer and nut.
Here we are, guys, at the rear. Now, this one's going to be a little simpler in my opinion because you just go around and put in nutserts. This is where the stubbier bit's going to really come in key because in areas like here and here, there's not as much room behind there. And a longer bit is actually going to start drilling inside to your Jeep. You don't want that. So make sure you either have a stubby bit or the right size drill bit. Here's your locations. You're going to have one here, here, and here. These two up there and those two down there. And that's going to be your bolt locations for the rear.
As you can see, we're still having fitment issues. I'm going to have to drill this out. And now the nutsert is turning behind there, so I'm gonna have to drill the whole nutsert out and do a new one. All the other bolts are aligned, so it's not that. I'm not sure why it's not lining up properly. We're a lot closer over here, fitment-wise, but the hole is not lining up. I'm gonna have to drill that out or something. It's a tighter fitment. I think that can be sucked in, but as you can see, this hole's gonna have to be enlarged to even come close to fitting where it needs to go.
There you go, guys. Another install from the AZ Westside. A little bit of modifications and certain things needed for these Hooke Road fenders, but all in all, very sturdy. They give you decent ground clearance. I notice I'm rubbing a little right here, but that's probably because of the tires, not really the fender. Before we just had the flatness. So not a bad set of fenders from Hooke Road. We're going to try and work with the company and see if we can't get some of this stuff clarified and fixed up so you guys don't have to modify or do anything to your set. We appreciate you guys. Like, subscribe, and share. Don't forget, stay wheeling.